Hello everyone, it's Mike from Just Lifestyle, and today we're going to try and train around 55 minutes. Probably will end up doing the 62 minutes of training today. Yeah, it's technically still a Friday, so you can get off my ass about this Monday, Wednesday, Friday routine. Welcome Stephen to the stream. We're going to be training some Woodpecker today. And I've had a very, very busy day of just getting a bunch of stuff done, which I've been putting off doing. And we basically got everything done. Of course, tomorrow's a new day with new obligations and shit to get sorted. But basically things are good. Things are good. So Gaming Armani says, hey, I have my first classical tournament this month. Any advice? Good to see you, Armani. Long time no see. First classical tournament this month. I would say, because it's your first tournament and you'll probably get your first rating from it, there's going to be that extra stress that, you want things to go well. And I think that also means that there's more potential to just tilt if things don't go well. So I think my best advice for you would be to treat every round of the tournament like it's a new tournament, like it's a new game. They're not connected between one another. You just try your very, very best for each game, and you don't start trying to work out your rating mid-tournament or try to understand your form mid-tournament. Just treat them as isolated games, because I think can easily spiral if you don't have that under control. Let's do some Woodpecker. So let's get rid of that. Okay, let's keep going. So what, we're around 35 away from completing intermediate exercise number 2, whatever that means. Last thing I'll just quickly say is that, we had our Friday episode uploaded for the ECF channel. So if you haven't tuned in for that, definitely go check it out. I appreciate all the support there. I saw some people join the live chat, so that was nice. But okay, Spassky against Avakin, white to play. So quick evaluation, we've got Queen, Rook, Rook, Bishop, Knight against Queen, Rook, Rook, Bishop, Bishop. We've got 4 pawns against 4 pawns. Pawn structures are very different. We've got the Knight and Bishop, they've got the Bishop pair. What about the kings? Both kings are slightly vulnerable to background checkmate. We've got X-ray on this king. There's some X-ray between the queens. Maybe some X-ray with the rook, likewise. Any loose pieces? Bishop is loose, rook is loose, bishop is loose. Okay, so that's about everything then. So what checks do we have in this position? We've got rook takes g7. What captures do we have in this position? We've got knight takes b5. Queen takes e6 as well, but almost definitely not. And what about threats in this position? I guess we've got bishop e5, got bishop h6, got queen e5. Maybe knight d5 in some crazy universe, which could be this universe. Okay, so probably something there is winning. Everything looks quite promising. So let's begin with our checks. Let's just look at this rook g7. If rook g7, king g7. I mean, we've got a few follow-up checks. Queen g3 feels interesting. Where would the king need to go? They can't go here because this is mate. If they go to h8, my idea would be to play bishop e5, but the problem is there's f6, and I don't think that leads anywhere. And also for the record, there's king f8. So if bishop h6 and the king runs, and I feel like it's not this. So let's look at our captures. What about knight takes b5? If they were to just take back the knight, then we get this check, and at the very least we win an exchange. Oh no, we win a whole rook even. So knight takes, they probably have to play an in-between move. Maybe they can take the queen with check. That forces us to take back. And then they can just take, and then it's just a trade. So that's not ideal. Okay, what about our other ideas? What about our threats? So if we were to play queen e5, we're threatening mate. B4 is also a threat, by the way, but we can come back to that. Queen e5, what if they just play bishop f6? Well, then we can take it. Queen e5 if they play f6. Part of me wants to try and make knight d5 work or something, but I think it's ridiculous. Okay, let's look at our other candidates real quick. Bishop e5. Again, I feel like f6 is a serious problem. Bishop h6. Maybe here, g6, and if queen e5, I guess they still play f6. So what? Have we looked at everything? Knight d5? I guess the problem is queen takes e1, rook takes e1. But how do they actually deal with the threats? Oh, they just take, of course. Oh, but then we can take here, but then there might be something like this. I don't know. Knight d5, they take, we take. I think they can just take. On these pieces, really. Is there any difference throwing in b4? I don't think so. They can even take with the bishop. Yeah, I've had very bad sleep today. So everything is not functioning right. I mean, so far knight d5 feels like the only move that's really working. I really have a problem with this f6. I just can't make it work. Like, I was hoping, like, going through all those candidates, maybe something will jump out and or link together. Bishop h6 again, if they go g6. Is there any other follow-up? Still this problem. I mean, knight d5 feels like the only reasonable move that I can see. Can't make anything else work. Bishop c7. Is this working? Because my idea is if rook takes, maybe it's vulnerable to queen e5. And that might win an exchange. And if bishop c7, you're already threatening this, right? So maybe this is actually a really strong move. I don't really know what it took for me to come to this, but it was just, I guess, like, just not being satisfied with any of my existing candidate moves. And at the end of the day, it's a threat, right? The more I look at this, the more I think that it's just this answer. There are no checks to worry about. I think this looks really strong. Bishop here, what if, like, try and sack the rook somehow? But the problem is that we're threatening mate, right? So we're just not in time. Yeah. Crazy move. Crazy move. So actually we have a choice now between taking both places, but I think taking the rook is consistent with what we were aiming to achieve. Yeah, doesn't feel like this really leads. I mean, maybe it leads somewhere, but they can also block. So I don't know. So I think just take. Yeah. Nice. Let's go. Did anyone find bishop c7? Seven-day event. Exciting times. Can you repeat what's Woodpecker method? Okay, so Woodpecker method is a book that is converted into a chessable course, and the notion of the book is that there's like 1,000 odd puzzles, and the idea is that you try and solve all the puzzles in 4 weeks, and then, or however many puzzles you can in 4 weeks, and then you repeat that set in 2 weeks, repeat that set in 1 week, repeat that set in 4 days. And the idea is that you're kind of training like the correct motifs in your games. The problem though is that the book is kind of trash, and I'm actually just using this for calculation training, not to use the Woodpecker method, but I am considering of trying to apply this woodpecker method with some other resources that are just better. Yeah, bishop c7 is nice. Also, welcome Anizan to the stream, and really great to hear that you've bought the Garganitza course. Appreciate the support as always. Yeah, so let me know how that goes. Like, really, I'm keen to hear your thoughts on it. I really think that my Garganitza course is a step up in terms of the writing compared to C3 Venom. So, yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy it. Okay, more Spassky, let's go. So we've got rook, bishop, bishop against rook, rook, bishop. So they're an exchange up. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 against 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we've got bishop and pawn against rook. We have the dark squared bishop as the additional bishop. Our rook is on a dark square, despite like my rook is a bit stuck, but it's on the dark square, so it's not like that vulnerable. Tension on pressure on the rook, on the pawn on d6. Got a bit of pressure here, but it's defended. X-ray is probably irrelevant. King is like a bit awkward here. Okay, anything else to note? This is a loose pawn, loose pawn, loose pawn, loose bishop. All of black's pieces are solid, loose pawn, loose pawn. Okay, so let's just start calculating some lines. So what checks do we have? We've got rook takes pawn is a check. What captures do we have? We've got these captures. That's about it. What threats do we have? I guess this attacks the rook. This potentially attacks the bishop. I mean, actually, for real. I mean, this is checkmate. So actually, okay, now that we've seen this, let's just analyze this a little bit quickly. So if we attack the bishop, they cannot move the bishop here because it's taken. They can also not really move the bishop here because we win the exchange back. If they try and take on d6, we just take the bishop. If they take our bishop, we just give this mate. So I think it just wins. Crazy. But this is what I mean by just considering all of your forcing candidate moves and considering all your threats. Like, this is what Frizz taught me like a year ago, which is like any move that potentially disrupts the defense of your opponent's setup, you just have to consider it, even if it makes absolutely no sense. And bishop h3, it hits the bishop. So you just have to consider it. So bishop h3, apparently bishop h1 is best. Decent chances to hold in opposite colored bishops and manage to do so. Crazy. I mean, we're just a pawn up though. So of course, like, we still play this. Rook g1. Oh, I did not consider this move. That's actually really bad. I didn't consider this. But okay. We're now 2 pawns up. Oh, we win a second pawn actually. Okay, fine. So 2 pawns up. Exchange down. But black has the advantage. Okay, nice job, Josh, and welcome to the stream. Bishop h3, good job. And good job, Stephen, as well, finding bishop h3. Yeah, rook g1 is a candidate. Yeah, completely missed it. Should have been a bit more thorough. But I guess also when you see like such a move like bishop h3, you really feel like there's going to be nothing better. But maybe I should keep looking just in case there's something better. But yeah, still, good stuff. Okay, next one. Geller against Spassky. White to play. So we've got queen, rook, rook, knight against queen, rook, rook, bishop. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 against 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What is going on in this position? There's some x-ray pressure on this king. Our king is also kind of a bit exposed, especially on these light squares. Rooks are connected, maybe a bit of pressure here, but they're a bit out of play. Rook is on the line of a queen, queen is on the line of the rook. Rook is on the line of a king, as we already said. So that means like potential tactics with this. Knight is secure, but maybe could do better. Queen is also kind of tied up to the defense of this pawn. This pawn is kind of under pressure. Okay, so let's start considering some forcing moves. What checks do we have? Well, we've got queen takes f7, we've got queen takes rook takes d5, and we've also got these checks as well. What about captures? We got bishop rook takes f4, knight takes d6, rook takes queen takes a6. Okay, and what about threats in this position? Maybe this brings the knight in. I wonder if there are any queen moves that make any sense. Queen e7 might be somewhat threatening, but it's not quite clear how it works. Maybe there's a threat of like takes and takes. So queen e7 potentially. Maybe I know this is part of the check and capture, but just it felt like maybe this is like a threat, right? This rook g2. So okay, let's just start calculating then. So what checks do we have? Let's look at this rook g5 first. So rook g5, if they take with the bishop, we just take, and then we're completely winning. So if rook takes, if they move the king, then we take the queen. So rook takes, they have to take with the queen, and in this position, rook g2 looks very strong. They can either defend their queen or they can try take our rook. If they take our rook and we take back, I actually like this position a lot because these pieces are completely tied down. Now, if you held a gun to my head and said, is this winning? I would say it's winning for white, but maybe we can somehow do better. Okay, so that definitely looks promising. Is there anything more I can conclude? Takes. I guess maybe black can try flush the queen out somehow, but not gonna be easy. Okay, let's have a quick scan of others. So what about these checks? Yeah, it doesn't make too much sense. These checks. This check doesn't make sense. Okay, fine. Captures. Rook f4. They take with the queen. Is there any point? Not really. What about queen e7? This was an interesting threat with the idea of threatening this capture. Maybe at the very least black can play f6, as ugly as it looks. So far this rook g5 really feels best. Were any of these knight moves working? Okay, if they take with the rook, we take here. If they take with the bishop, then we take here. So hold up, is knight takes d6 just way better? Maybe knight takes d6 is just completely winning on the spot. I mean, we're also pressuring f7. Like, what on earth do? They have to move the queen, I guess. Let's say queen takes d3. Then we can take here. And this looks tremendously strong. Yeah, I mean, like, we're threatening to, let's say, play knight f5. And if they play, like, they can't even do this, really, because then the rook surely comes in. It's a little messy, but I think it's winning. Knight d6. If they defend f7, how do we finesse this? I mean, we can bring the knight to e4 or something, so it just feels very strong. There's no checks, counter checks. Can they hit our queen somehow? I mean, at the very least, we can take their queen, they take ours, and we take the bishop, right? So, probably not to worry. So I think knight d6 is just strongest. Okay, so they just took, and then we just take. Beautiful. Rook g5 is indeed what I looked at. Oh, they just sack. Threat against f7 and the pins on the f and g file force black to give up the exchange. What threat on f7? And pins on the f and g file. I mean, this position, why are they forced to sack it? I don't understand the explanation. Okay, rook a5 is just best. Fine. But it's not exactly forced. Like, I mean, you've got other moves as well to consider. Okay, fair enough. How did people do? We got a rook takes g5 easy peasy, and yeah, that's probably inaccurate compared to knight takes d6, which is why, yeah, we just always have to shallowly calculate, just make sure we consider everything. That's what makes exercises different from a game of chess. You actively search for a solution while sometimes there's no combination. I would say what I have done recently in my classical games, I would calculate like I'm doing on stream right now, in positions where I feel like there's a combination. Like, of course, sometimes, like, you know, I will then miss a combination when there's one where, you know, where I don't sense it. But it's definitely better than sensing there's a combination and then failing to find it because we don't calculate. And I think this kind of method of calculation is just very reliable. That's my feeling. Nice job, Armani, with knight takes d6. On second thoughts, knight takes d6 seems like the play. Exactly, knight d6. Exactly. Right, so that's why Josh, yeah, on this knight takes d6, rook 8a8, I just take the queen, they take my queen, I take on f4. That's the simplest way. Yep, and good job, e8, knight d6, queen f6, knight e4. Yeah. Woodpecker being a fantastic book as usual, yeah. Brilliant explanations there. Okay, let's do another one. Okay, so we've got queen, rook, bishop, knight, knight. Oh, and for the record, actually, in my first round of my French tournament, I had this opportunity to calculate like this in a critical moment, and I just played by hand and played the move that I felt looks good enough. And then, of course, it wasn't the strongest move, and I missed my opponent's resource, which then made it very tricky, and I then ended up drawing the game. But if I did this properly, then I think I just win that game. But yeah, it's just difficult to force yourself to be disciplined to calculate so thoroughly. Like, it's just effort, which is why we do these streams, because the more streams we do, the less effort it becomes, and then it's just more easy to apply in the game. Okay, Spassky is white. Queen, rook, knight, knight, bishop against queen, rook, bishop, bishop, knight. So they've got the bishop pad. We've got 4 pawns, they've got 4 pawns. Although we have slightly better pawn structure with these connected pawns. What to note about this position? Well, our king's quite exposed, but it actually seems quite safe. Black's king has some protection, but actually it feels less safe somehow. Having said that, the dark squared bishop is a very good protector of the king, especially when we don't have a dark squared bishop. This rook is extremely awkward on h8, the knight is extremely poor on a7. There is pressure on these pieces, there is pressure on our rook, which is actually hanging. What other loose pieces do we have? We've got a loose knight, loose queen, loose rook. We have loose queen, loose knight. Okay. Fine. X-ray pressure here. Maybe some X-ray pressure on this square somehow. Maybe, you know, there's like X-ray pressures like this as well. Okay, so let's consider the candidates. So what checks do we have? We've got rook takes, we've got rook check, we've got bishop check. What captures do we have? We can capture. Looks good. Frets, what about frets? Maybe queen here, but we need to remember our rook is hanging. Any move that potentially disrupts black's setup. Don't see a good threat, I have to say. So okay, let's begin with the checks. Rook takes bishop. If they don't take the rook and they move the king, well then we've just won a bishop and we can move our rook and we're doing great. So they have to take. Then we have all these discoveries with the knight. We also have queen g1 as a follow-up check. So rook takes, king takes. Let's try this knight e4. We cover f6, so they can't block queen f6. And they've got a bunch of moves. Now, if they move to any of these... Okay, if they move to f8, we can take the rook. But they can move to f7, h7, or g6. So, if they move to h7 or g6, they are in the line of our bishop. So, what discovery can we play there? Unfortunately, we can't attack the queen. If they go to h7, then we can go knight f6, double check, king g7, and then discover check on d7. That's winning. So, okay, if we go knight check and they go king g6, what can we try here? We can also go knight f6, discover check. Although then they can block, and then takes. This is kind of a mess. Although we've got like queen check here. And I think king g6 is forced. Yeah, I don't know. That's really messy. Okay, let's just double check. What about this queen g1? Again, black's got several moves. Maybe king f8 seems most reasonable. Yeah, it doesn't feel like we have an immediate follow-up. Rook takes, king takes. Do we have any other knight moves? Does knight here make any sense? Don't see why it would. Oh, we could potentially pick up this, right? I didn't even consider how this is just loose. So like if king f... Okay, not king f8 because you lose the rook. King g8. And we just take the knight. Is that worth doing? I mean, this was such a bad knight though. I mean, okay, it maybe does have some future, but I guess it's a backup. You know, we do have this as an option, and I think we do keep a slight advantage there. Any more moves to consider real fast? Rook takes bishop, just queen takes, doesn't make sense. Check here, they just take, doesn't make sense. Bishop check here, doesn't make sense. So it feels like it has to be this. I mean, yeah. We've got a backup already. So now is a question, do we want to be more ambitious with knight e4, or do we want to play it safe and just take this knight? So knight e4, let's give this another go. King f8, we take the rook. King h7 got slaughtered due to knight f6, double check. King f7, we haven't actually tried calculating that. I don't see it. Because these squares are protected. So is knight g5 ideas. So it almost feels like we should just bail out with this move and not get fancy. I think I'm happy to bail out. Incorrect, knight e4 is correct. Oh dear. I don't know, I saw that both king f7 and king g6 are playable. I just gave up on it. King f7. Oh Jesus, knight e5. Did not see knight e5 was a move. Shit. Did not see knight e5 was possible. Yeah, no, I genuinely tried to look at all of my checks in this position. I literally just saw knight g5, queen f6. Like I didn't see knight e5, which is just crazy. Knight e5. But even this follow-up's not clear. Knight c6. That's... Oh no, it is clear because it's a double attack on the queen and rook. Fine. But also, why is the king going to e8? Surely the king would try and go to g8. That would make more sense. Okay. But knight e4 is winning. So let's actually investigate. Oh, let's go one move back actually, so we can consider this knight. This alternative knight b5. So okay, knight b5 I guess actually just, you know... Oh, okay, interestingly it's +3 if I can just take the a7 cleanly, but if queen f6 is allowed, then it's less clear. And that makes sense because the rook increases in strength if the queens are off and, you know, we can't coordinate with the minor pieces. Yeah, maybe this is actually not so clear. Yeah, I kind of didn't consider how strong this pawn could be. Yeah, I don't know. So okay, let's check this knight e4. So knight e4, if king f7, yeah, knight e5 I just completely missed. I also didn't have enough confidence in just playing a move like queen e5. Like I don't see why it's like +4. Like I mean, I can see how it's potentially promising, but it's just like not clear enough for me to be able to play. And if king g8? Oh, knight takes d7 and knight f6, yeah. Yeah, okay, fine. And okay, what about knight here, king g6? Oh, knight d6 is so smart because now there's no blocking on this square. Like I was trying to look at this and I was getting bogged down by this. Yeah, bishop takes would just... Oh, is apparently fine as well. Yeah, this is what I was trying to calculate, and I was just like, this is just unclear. But I guess maybe I should have faith in the queen and two knights, which I did not. So good to see that this actually works. Yeah. This is some crazy... I mean, the nice thing is that, yeah, you don't need to find this exact checkmate to win, but yeah, it makes sense. Queen and two knights, I should have more belief in it. Yeah. Okay, let's see how people did. Yeah, this has to be rook takes g7, rook g7, king g7, knight b5 wins the knight on a7. Yeah, so Armani actually went for the same thing as you. There's two knights that go to g5, right? But I didn't think there was a way to make it work in that variation where I wanted. Oh, I meant to click engine. Never mind. Whatever. But yeah, no, we can see that there are ways to win, and I think I should probably just trust the position a bit more, which I just wasn't able to. Okay, let's move on. Karpov against Spassky. Queen, rook, rook, bishop, bishop against queen, rook, rook, bishop, bishop. 4, 5, 6 against 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we've got an extra pawn. What to note? So there's some X-ray pressure on the king. Potentially we can get the king like caught up, you know, if we sack and then play like bishop f6 or something, and if they lure the king out, then maybe we've got some follow-up. That kind of vibe. Our king is much safer in comparison because the bishop's doing a great job of protecting and the queen hasn't really got any helpers to attack. There is some pressure on our pawn. We have some defense as well as some X-ray pressure. We've got pressure on the bishop. This is potentially a threat. Any loose pieces? No. So, okay. Let's begin with our checks. We've got bishop takes f6. In terms of captures, we've got rook takes e7 and bishop takes a5. What about our threats? Maybe d6? Maybe rook e6? that's about it that I can see. Maybe like rook here as well. Okay, so let's start with our checks. If we go bishop takes f6, what if they just take with the bishop? Like, that surely has to be good for black. Okay, so what about captures? If we go rook takes e7, if they take back, well, we've got this one idea of bishop f6. We've also got d6 here, which looks interesting. So rook e7, d6. If they take, and we take, so we're up a bishop, maybe they can play rook e1, but no, they can't, because bishop takes e1. I thought if queen has to take, then they can take our rook, right? And it's a trade, but then we're probably still up a piece, so yeah, that doesn't work anyway. So rook e7 and then d6 looks really good. Wait, rook e7 and then we go d6. What if they just go back rook d7? No, but then we win a queen, they take our rook. We can even take with promote and protect. So rook e7 just looks completely winning. Any checks in response, this does nothing. Looks good to me. Queen c4. That's actually kind of an annoying move. I did not see this. Yeah, queen c4 is a good candidate. Just pressuring here so that if I take, then there's pressure on this rook. And the thing is, they can take with the rook to avoid that promotion idea. What do we do here? So okay, this is loose. This is loose and hanging. We've still got this one check. This rook is somewhat vulnerable. And currently we're in exchange down. So what if we just deal with it by playing a move like b3? Well, then the problem is they can take. And then what happens if we take here? Ah, the annoying thing is this comes with checks, so we can't, like, promote or something. b3 is still interesting. Queen takes. Do we really have nothing? Oh, hold up. We can go bishop takes f6, king f6, and rook b3. Does that win? I think that's winning. I think b3 is actually just the winning move then. Yeah, b3 looks very good. Okay, very nice. And of course, Axel Smith doesn't give queen takes b3, and I feel like bishop takes f6 is probably the only move. Oh, we can just take. Okay, this is winning as well, +5. Queen takes b3. Ah, and if the bishop takes, it's no longer controlling the square, because I saw this, and I thought that it's just a trade, right? But the problem is that, yeah, white is actually able to promote. Okay, I missed that detail. Yeah, b3, very nice move. And just having a bit of extra evaluation just was enough to help. Just identify the move. Nice. Queen and pawn were covering the g5 square? Yeah. Nice. For the last exercise. This one, rook takes e7, rook e7, d6, queen c4, rook d4. Interesting. Armani. Let's have a look at this rook d4. Rook d4 is also a winning move. Very nice. I did not consider this move. Which makes a lot of sense actually, because you just secure your rook and then you take on e7. Don't know why I didn't think about that. Queen e2 is a nice response though. And again we have this problem that if you try and take, then they can take with check. That's the issue. And then if you take here, then I assume they can just take back and they're happy. And then you have to grind this out. So maybe it's a slightly inaccurate move, this rook d4, due to queen e2. It's a very nice find. Bishop takes a5 is also I guess you win back the exchange, right? If they can't deal with both of us. But yeah, I think b3 is definitely cleaner. What's bishop takes a5? Oh, so Axel Smith just gives a random sideline. That's okay, fine, whatever. Yes, b3, very nice, Stephen. I think I might have a lag on the chat actually. Let me, yeah. Okay, cool. How are we doing for time? 13 more minutes. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, last one against Spassky. Let's go. Okay, so we've got Queen Rook Rook Bishop Knight against Queen Rook Rook Bishop Knight. We've got 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, what is there to note? Our king has a window. Also seems pretty safe. Their king doesn't have a window, but also seems pretty safe. What else is happening here? Our rook is loose. Our queen is loose. Their queen is almost loose, just defended by the knight. Their rook is loose. Everything feels very clumsy in this position. Anything else to note? There's some X-ray defense here, X-ray pressure, X-ray pressure. Maybe this can threaten something. Maybe knight takes d5 somehow has something. Okay, so let's start with our checks. What checks do we have? We have literally one check, queen takes h7, which looks absolutely horrendous. What about captures? We can go rook takes knight, we can go knight takes, we can go rook takes, go rook takes. What about threats? Knight, oh, that's a capture as well. Bishop g5 maybe? e6 maybe? Queen f5, try and pressure the knight. A knight move can attack the queen. Looks very dodgy, given our queen is loose. e4 maybe? Let's try and open this up. Can't exploit the loose rook. Maybe this capture and then exploit this loose queen somehow could also be an idea. Okay, fine. So let's calculate properly. Queen and 7 wasn't working. What about captures? So let's say we take the knight. They should take back. Don't see a useful follow-up. And we have one attack and it's nothing. So what about our other captures? Does this do anything? Queen takes? Don't think so. Okay, if we do this capture, I think they can just take our queen. If we do this capture... Oh, why can't we just do this capture? Rook takes d5. Because if they take, then we just take. And if they take, we just take. So what's wrong with this? We also hit the knight as well. So yeah, so this is what I mean about just being brute forcing it. Like, I don't know why, but rook takes d5 doesn't have any feeling or intuition in this position. Like, zero. I guess maybe I should have identified that there's X-ray pressure here. Maybe that's what would have done it for me, because I just didn't see that this was actually something. But just by forcing yourself to calculate, then you actually see stuff. So this just looks completely winning then. Given that I've always got a window in case of any like bullshit checks. So yeah, it just looks good. Okay, nice. Oh, and I should have realized that actually I'm trading 2 rooks for a queen. So that's actually really silly. I thought I was just winning a queen for a rook, but no. But luckily it's correct anyway. I guess knight d5 is an important move to see at the end. because you hit the rook and you hit the knight. If the rook moves here, then it gets taken. If the rook moves somewhere else to defend like this, is there a point? Do we have a follow-up? I mean, that king looks pretty weak. Like some queen f5 with knight f6 ideas, it looks very strong. Knight takes d5 looks very good. Any other candidates? No checks, no captures. Any threats? I think just knight takes d5, yeah. Okay, 2 rooks are often stronger than a queen and 2 pawns. Well, that's just bullshit. Axel Smith with the absolute lies. The fake news and lies. Actually crazy. Imagine a beginner reading that two rooks are often stronger. How can you say often stronger? That's a crazy statement. But they are weak defenders against pawn storms, okay? And white's plan is to attack the king side. Right, okay, fine. So rook e7, bishop g5. I wonder if queen f5 is also winning here. Queen f5 was my feeling. Alright, queen f5 top move. Okay, it was top move for a second. Alright, queen f5 top move, let's go. And if they just do something like random, then knight f6 I thought was enough, but maybe that's not right. Oh, yikes, okay, maybe not. I guess actually we don't have a clear threat. I thought somehow we can make this win. I guess on bishop d6 then they can play bishop h6 or something. And it's just clumsy, that's kind of crazy. Also knight e6 is a very nice move. Yeah, so okay, you gotta be more careful. Oh my god, knight c7. Yeah, and e6 makes sense. Okay, I can kind of believe this. If here, then e6 anyway. Right, and this is protected by this. Okay, fine. Yeah, shocking comment from Axel Smith again. What are people saying? Rook takes d5, very nice Ife. After queen moves, rook takes d7, good. Rook takes d5, cd5, rook c5, knight c5, knight d5, very nice. Knight takes d5 in the end is important, yes. Okay, good stuff, guys, good stuff. And actually, yeah, that was careless from me for not actually evaluating the material correctly. So a bit lucky that I have knight takes d5 at the end. But yeah, let's see how the game was won. So bishop g5 was chosen. Queen f5 was eventually played. Bishop h4, keep move to protect f2. f4 anyway, okay, fine. Fair enough. That does look quite disruptive. What if they take with a pawn? Do we take with bishop, bishop g7? And then queen takes f7? That would be my line of thought if they take. Oh shit, bishop takes f7, bishop takes f6, loses the advantage. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, this is winning, which is what I saw. But then this is possible. Which is why, you know, just carelessly calculating is just absolutely horrendous for players with no attacking bone in their body. Yeah, fine. This is just not winning. So, okay, we have to play queen f7. This is why I never resign, because you don't know if you're playing an absolute idiot. Yeah, queen takes f7. Yeah, this is winning. Okay, nice. Okay, 5 minutes before we're done from this hell, let's do one more. Okay, Spassky against Otto Boric, never heard of the guy. White to play. We got queen, rook, bishop, knight against queen, rook, bishop, knight. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 against 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're pawn up. We've got opposite coloured bishops as well. That means if we can attack on the light squares, this is going to be pretty nice. Therefore, a move like c4 is kind of interesting, right? Because if the queen takes, maybe we can enter. What else is there to note about this position? We have some battery. Rook is loose. Knight is loose. Knight is also hanging. Rook is only defended by the queen. Knight is only defended by the rook. Bishop will improve soon, but maybe it's on a suboptimal square for now. King also has a window. Very handy. Okay, so what checks do we have? We have only one check, queen f7, so let's just quickly calculate it. Let's say they just take. Or we take back. They take. Maybe let's rook d1 at the end? Honestly, not crazy. Queen f7. If they go king h8. Oh, then we can at least take and then knight f7. So queen f7. Queen f7, knight f7, king f7. And then rook d1. King e6, then just c4. Kind of feels strong. So actually very good vibes from this move. I wonder if knight f7, does it make a difference which move order we play? Probably not. But I think queen f7 is a bit more forcing. But is that enough to be winning? Just have... Oh no, we're 2 pawns up in this endgame, even though it's opposite coloured bishops. We can also keep the rooks on to decrease drawing chances. Anything else though? What captures do we have? So we got knight takes f7, we got queen takes d5. Queen d5 is interesting as well. What about threats? Maybe knight g4. c4 as I mentioned. Yeah, c4, the thing is the knight can just move. What about the threat of rook d1? I guess the problem is they can take my knight. So I think, yeah, with the fact that a knight is actually hanging, makes this look more enticing. Queen takes looks cool until you realize they can just take the knight. So I think just queen f7. Ah, bastard. Okay, at least I played the same move that Spassky played. Queen f7, knight f7. Ah, shit. I tried to look for candidate moves for black here. I actually did try. I just didn't see that knight c3 hit my rook. Ah, that's actually bollocks. I was trying to think, like, you know, in this position, if like the rook moves, like that's what I was looking for. I was like, okay, if rook d7, then I just play knight e5, right? So I felt that this was winning, so I just completely missed knight takes c3. Ah, that's so annoying. So okay, if knight f7, what's the difference? Well, yeah, if queen takes, king takes, and then just rook d1. It's just shit. Just didn't see knight takes c3. Which is why you should try and apply this check captures threats within a variation as well. It's just like, you know, still it's just not natural to do yet. But we're getting there. Knight c3. That's annoying. Okay, the saving grace is at least Spassky missed it as well, so it's not completely trivial to spot. Plays with no attacking bone. I've been called. Let's go, Steven. No attacking bones together. Queen f7, rook d1. Yes, that's the right idea, Josh. But of course, queen f7, you need to take the queen first, right? Otherwise, you'll be a queen down. King e6 and c4. Not sure enough, though, if we lose the b pawn. Right, because c4 then potentially loses the b pawn, but... Okay, let's imagine knight f7, queen f7, king f7, rook d1, king e6, c4. If they take on b4... What's the best way to recapture? Probably with the bishop with check, and then when the king moves, we can play rook b1, and I think we pick up on b7. So I think that wins. Oh, knight. Wait, what? guess that is a way to do it, but why? Why is Queen F7 not also winning? That's so funny that Axel Smith doesn't consider Queen F7 here. Queen F7 only plus 1.6. Rook D1, King E6, C4. Bishop takes B4. Bishop takes is my idea, and then Rook B1. Okay, so this is the line. But apparently not completely clear. Rook F8, and we don't really want to block because then we trade. Wow. So actually, Black does manage to get counterplay on the F2 pawn. But okay, we can play Rook. We can even play Rook B2, or we can play Bishop F7. So we're not actually losing the pawn. Yeah, I feel like this should be winning. So that's the point. So in this position, if we play Rook D1 immediately, there's no King E6. So this is just a cleaner version. Yeah, very, very tricky variations to you know, finesse. Okay, I'll check this in a bit. Okay, nice. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think I am at my limit. So thanks for tuning in. Sorry for such a late stream. I guess it still works for some of the degenerates who are still awake at this time. But okay, next stream on Monday, and thanks also for watching the English Chess Federation video. Gonna try and keep that up every Friday. So, okay, good stuff, and see you on Monday. Okay, bye guys. I am shattered.